Many litigants assume that the legal process moves forward the moment a complaint is filed. In practice, a multi-sala court system handles thousands of disparate cases simultaneously, and without a rigid sorting mechanism, the system creates an immediate administrative bottleneck. Rule 20 of the Rules of Civil Procedure, the calendar of cases, is the framework designed to address this volume. It functions by formalizing the specific sequence and administrative oversight required for all pending matters. To accomplish this, the rule relies on two distinct logistical phases: queuing, the timeline under Section 1, and assigning the tribunal under Section 2. Procedural errors in these sections often go unnoticed, yet they can invalidate a case before the first witness is sworn in. These mechanics create a barrier between the subjective preferences of court personnel and the objective assignment of a case. Section 1 establishes the specific hierarchy for how court time is allocated. This diagram illustrates the workflow of the court calendar. The specific actor required to maintain the physical and digital calendar is the clerk of court. The clerk must record 4 specific types of matters: pretrials, trials, adjourned or postponed trials, and motions set for hearing. However, the clerk does not have the authority to act independently. Section 1 explicitly states that the clerk performs this duty under the direct supervision of the judge. There is a strict legal distinction here. Supervising the calendar is not the same as the physical act of keeping the calendar. Consider a scenario where a clerk is absent, and the presiding judge decides to manually prepare the trial calendar themselves to ensure efficiency. Because Section 1 assigns keeping the calendar exclusively to the clerk, a judge who prepares the calendar personally commits a procedural error. Under the precise wording of Section 1, the judge is the supervisor, but the clerk is the only authorized builder of the docket. Confusing these administrative roles fails to account for the structural requirements of the rule. Once the calendar is established, the order of cases isn't determined by the order of filing. Section 1 mandates absolute preference for specific actions based on the nature of the rights involved. These strict statutory priorities follow the mnemonic HES. The H represents habeas corpus cases. Because these involve the active deprivation of physical liberty, Section 1 requires they take immediate precedence. The E refers to election cases. Disputes over public office require immediate resolution for governmental stability, slotting them directly below. The first S identifies special civil actions. The final S refers to cases so required by law, specific mandates found in separate statutes. If a judge prioritizes a complex, high-profile corporate contract case over a pending local election dispute, they are in direct violation of this hierarchy. A sum of money case, regardless of scale, is an ordinary civil action with no priority. Legal challenges to such a schedule must cite the mandatory preference clause of Section 1, which denies the judge the discretion to reorder these categories. This shows that the calendar is structured to protect specific, high-priority rights before addressing chronological fairness. After the timing is set, the case must be routed to a specific branch. This phase, Section 2, is built to ensure that no party or judge can influence which tribunal hears a specific matter. The exclusive method for assigning cases is the raffle. A valid assignment requires the fulfillment of 3 requirements: raffle, open session, and notice. The raffle must be the mechanism used. It must be held in an open session, and adequate notice must be given so that parties have the opportunity to be present. If a court conducts a raffle but fails to inform the parties of the date and time, the assignment is procedurally void. Without notice, the requirement for transparency is broken, making the assignment a violation of Section 2. This applies even if the deviation is well-intended. For example, an executive judge might manually assign cases to balance workloads between branches and increase efficiency. This manual assignment is prohibited. Human discretion, even for the purpose of efficiency, is removed from the process to prevent the possibility of judge shopping. There is one specific deviation authorized: the special courts exception. Cases falling under the jurisdiction of special commercial courts or family courts bypass the general population raffle. If a jurisdiction has 2 or more of these specialized branches, the court must conduct a limited raffle exclusively among those specific branches. The court system prioritizes randomness and transparency over the convenience of administrative balancing. Every case file must pass through the rigid requirements of Rule 20. Section 1 builds the timeline based on the nature of the rights involved, preventing chronological bias. Section 2 then assigns the tribunal through a public, randomized ravel, shielding the court from institutional bias. A violation of either section undermines the integrity of the trial before any evidence is presented. When reviewing complex legal scenarios regarding trial delays, the first step should be an audit of these logistical steps. Any deviation from the required actors or the randomization process constitutes a procedural flaw. Rule 20 establishes that the first structural layer of due process is found in these specific mechanical requirements.